Good evening. This is Michael Johnston.
And I'm Sandy Johnston.
And Josh Johnston is the one holding the phone.
And my name is Anthony Brent, and today I'm going to be talking to you about bar mitzvahs. Can you remember the first time you felt like an adult man or woman? It could be when your father first called you a man, or your mother told you that you were growing into a beautiful young lady. Can you recall the feeling of accomplishment or pride that you felt in that moment? The feeling of achievement is the reason most cultures have their own coming-of-age ceremony to celebrate the transition from childhood to adulthood. Quinceañeras in Latin America, sweet 16s in America, even cow jumping in Ethiopia are all examples of these traditions. Bar mitzvahs are a coming-of-age ceremony that originated amongst the French Jews, where a young man assumes responsibility for his personal conduct in keeping the laws and customs of Israel. In this speech, we will discuss the history and background of the practice, the significance of the age of 13, the responsibilities of a young man who is transitioning into adulthood, the ceremony itself, and the types of gifts that can be given at the reception. By the end of this speech, if you happen to have a Jewish friend that has a son or daughter, you'll at least be able to have a conversation about their bar mitzvah with them and understand what they're talking about, maybe even get them a gift or have confidence enough to attend. Before recently, I thought that the bar mitzvah was an ancient practice, at least dating back to the time of Jesus, possibly further. The first bar mitzvahs we have on record originated in France, amongst the Jewish population there in the 13th century. According to Michael Hilton, a manuscript was found in the 1900s detailing the earliest accounts of the practice. Its origins in France are surprising. Even more astounding, Hilton mentions that Christian cultural practices and French traditions may have influenced the practice heavily. He suggests that in early examples of a bar mitzvah, a Jewish father would lay his hand on his son's head, and practice possibly coming from the Christian practice of laying on of hands. Along with some customs surrounding the early practice, the age of 13 may have originated from French culture more so than that of the Jews. It seems that in France in the 13th century, a child entered into his third stage of education at the age of 13. This made for a perfect time to institute a coming-of-age ceremony, as children would end up leaving the home to study at this age. I think the most surprising thing to me is that it's not quite clear that the age of 13 is at all significant in either the Bible or the Talmud. Hilton discusses certain examples where the age could have originated from. However, there is nothing in either document or any Jewish tradition which pinpoints a specific age where a boy becomes a man. The fact is that this custom is not just a celebration of a birthday or even a celebration of manhood. It's much more than that, actually. It is believed to be the time that a young man unwillingly accepts his responsibility or willingly accepts his responsibility for following the laws of Moses and the customs of the Jewish people. The encyclopedia says this about those who complete the bar mitzvah. The boy who is now deemed personally responsible for fulfilling all the commandments may henceforth don phylacteries, religious symbols worn on the forehead and left arm. During the weekday morning prayers, he may be counted an adult whenever 10 adult males are needed for a quorum for public prayers. Because of the solemnness of the occasion, the customs themselves are focused primarily on Scripture and centered on the religious life and activities of the Jewish people. According to Judaism 101, an online encyclopedia for Judaism, bar mitzvah is Aramaic for the son of the covenant. The practice is comprised of scripture readings given by the bar mitzvah candidate. Large passages of the Torah are read. Then the candidate leads the congregation in prayer. In some communities, the candidate then gives a speech. The party starts after the Sabbath service. After the Sabbath ceremony, the candidate usually celebrates the rite of passage with the party, and oftentimes gifts are exchanged.